Guys, today I want to talk about loot warning. Now, I don't want to alarm you. I know we've already made multiple videos on what's going away. Today's video is going to serve as pretty much everything that will be leaving, including craftable weapons, Nightfall weapons, Iron Banner Trials of Osiris weapons, ritual weapons, even seasonal exotics. Although, don't be too concerned about the seasonal exotics, as they'll just be moved to our exotic monument. And then, of course, seasonal activities, exotic quests, and a ton of materials that are being deprecated. First up, Trials of Osiris. The Forgiveness Sidearm and the Burden of Guilt Fusion Rifle are going away. Personally, I like both of these weapons, guys. Burden of Guilt has roles like High Impact and Successful Warm-Up in combination with things like Elemental Capacitor and Perpetual Motion. I actually use this with my Rain of Fire build in Vex Mythic class, and it's really good because you can rock two different fusion rifles at the same time. Forgiveness is also a very good sidearm that we've reviewed. Things like Air Assault and Rapid Hit, as well as Multi-Kill Clip and Harmony. Now, a big kicker about both of these weapons is they are trial weapons, which means they have the origin trait Alacrity. Now, Iron Banner. The two weapons going away, Razor's Edge and Frontier's Cry. Now, Frontier's Cry, aka the Chode, is arguably the best 180 in the game. Rapid Hit, Adagio. I know Adagio is not necessarily a perk people jump up for, but it's very nice. Razor's Edge, not really a sword I jump up for, but it does look dope. And on top of that, you can get Chain Reaction. Explosions! Now, Nightfall weapons that are going away, Horus Lease and DFA. Now, DFA is good, although I wouldn't necessarily be too sad if you didn't get the God roll for it. There are other options out there. You've got Is Luna, Rose, the craftable Austringer. However, Horus Lease is a very, and I mean a very good pulse rifle. As you are going through your vault, gentlemen, for the love of God, keep that perpetual motion kill clip roll. Even if it isn't that exact roll, any half decent roll of this pulse rifle is still very good. This is one of the best rapid fire pulse rifles in the game. It handles its ones beautifully. I highly suggest hanging on to it. Now, moving on to our seasonal weapons. And this is season 16 through 19. Guys, get these patterns. And I'm really going to highlight all of them, but some of them a little more so than others. Starting with Explosive Personality. Personally, one of my favorite wave frames in the game, guys. We just recently made a Traveler's Chosen build. It's a wave frame, but it can roll with things like auto loading and Disruption Break. Now, a lot of people think of Disruption Break as a PvE perk, but inside of PvP, it's fantastic. It amplifies that kinetic damage, allowing for easy cleanup. You also have Recurrent Impact, which is a stasis machine gun. It has great PvE roles like Subsistence and One for All. Under Your Skin, which is one of the best bows in the game, with combinations like Archer's Tempo and Successful Warm-Up. And again, with all of these weapons, you get enhanced versions here. Sweet Sorrow, we reviewed this way back, man. A fantastic 720 round per minute auto. You've got combinations like Killing Wind and Tap the Trigger. I really hate more people don't actually use this auto rifle inside of PvP. I know 720s aren't exactly the meta, but Sweet Sorrow is such a good weapon. And even inside of PvE, you have Stats for All and One for All. Great combinations throughout. This is a must-have auto rifle. We also have Thoughtless, which is a stasis sniper rifle. Things like Overflow, Firing Line. PvP, you can get roles like Firmly Planted, Perpetual Motion, as well as Snapshot. Thoughtless is kind of a weird one. You're either really good at landing shots with it or you're not. Next, we have Peace of Mind. I talked very, very highly about Horus Lease. Peace of Mind may even be better than Horus Lease. It's in the kinetic slot. It has great combinations, including the likes of Moving Target, Perpetual Motion. This is one of those pulse rifles that dominates in 1v1s. PvE, it also has things like Overflow and Warple. And considering that this is a kinetic weapon, and we're getting a kinetic weapon buff inside of PvE, you may want to use that Peace of Mind for PvE next season. Austringer, one of the best out there, back when it was originally presented to us in Season of Opulence, and with enhanced traits, it came back even better. Eye of the Storm Rangefinder, a hell of a role here to have for my PvP players. Drang's so good, it had to get nerfed like twice. Combinations like Moving Target, Incandescent, Zim Moment for my controller users. Drang literally aims for you. Beloved, another fantastic weapon. Snapshot, Moving Target all day long. But even inside of PvE, you can do things like 4 times the Charm, Incandescent. But hands down, Beloved shines as one of the best sniper rifles inside of PvP. I definitely suggest locking that pattern down. Calus Mini Tool. Now, Mini Tool is actually feeling a little bit better after the SMG changes. Again, they buffed lower range SMGs, but the higher range SMGs they brought down, essentially equalizing the field here. Calus Mini Tool, though, inside of PvE, you can rock roles like Threat Detector plus Incandescent. Inside of PvP, you can do Tap the Trigger and Moving Target. Again, Enhance really elevates these weapons. Firefright, honestly, one of the sexiest auto rifles Bungie has ever made. It's a kinetic weapon. It's actually positioned pretty nicely for next season. Things like Well-Rounded, as well as Osmosis. Combine that with Strand. You even got 4 times the Charm, Surround It. For PvP, I actually mess around with Adagio and Fragile Focus. Again, nothing too crazy about this auto rifle, so don't kill yourself for it, but it is one of the sexiest weapons. Tears of Contrition, a fantastic PvE scout rifle, deals kinetic damage, so you know it's going to be putting out next season, and you can get things like triple tap plus Vorpal, 4 times the charm, explosive payload, great combinations here. Nezarec's Whisper, a solid glaive choice, options like Demolitionist, Adrenaline Junkie, Impulse Amplifier plus Frenzy. Vorpal is also present on this thing, snag it. Bump in the Night, turns out Bump in the Night is doing some pretty impressive damage, considering you can get rolls like Demolitionist and Chill Clip. Now, in combination with other people on your squad, rocking a Chill Clip weapon, it's that shattered damage from stasis that elevates your DPS, and Bump in the Night, especially when combined with someone on your team rocking Galahorn, definitely puts out. And if you want to know what weapons are not getting a nerf next season, rocket launchers. That's right. Bungie has completely skimmed over them, meaning they're going to be pretty solid. And I know grenade launchers are getting a big buff, but rocket launchers are still going to be very solid. Hollow Denial. Hollow is such an interesting one, and I wish we had really focused on this one here recently, considering the Gerfalcon changes. This is a trace rifle though that deals void damage, and it can roll with Repulsor Brace. That's right. One of the best perk combinations with Gerfalcons is a weapon with Repulsor Brace. We did a solo build with the ritual weapon Veles X, and that gun puts out primarily because of Repulsor Brace. Its survivability is just so good because it procs every single time you defeat a void debuff target. And considering that's so easy to do with Gerfalcons, it's completely free. Without Remorse, honestly, one of the most infuriating shotguns. I used to never get killed by Without Remorse, and then occasionally I will come across someone rocking this shotgun and they completely decimate me. Now, considering that shotgun changes have gone into effect at the beginning of the season and everything has their own reticle spread, Without Remorse is not really my favorite, but neither is any of the lightweight. I definitely prefer Precisions at this point. Snag it if you want. Tarnished Mettle, Volt Shot, baby. What more can I say? A lightweight frame, scout rifle with combinations like Rapid Hit and Volt Shot. Fellas, you got a scout rifle that will put out. Blood Feud. I have actually not played with Blood Feud since the most recent changes to SMGs. It is a 750 though. It has combinations like Dynamic Sway, Elemental Capacitor, even some quirky ones like Pugilist and Swashbuckler, as well as Headstone. Again, don't kill yourself over it. If you're a collector like me, go right ahead. Brigands Law. Again, similar to Tarnished Mettle. Volt Shot plus Feeding Frenzy. No Reprieve. This shotgun right here is one we should have reviewed. No Reprieve puts out, guys. And I think it's actually because the front of the barrel is just so girthy. It's so hard not to actually land the headshot. It's got combinations like Surplus and Snapshot, making the weapon feel very fluid. And even inside of PvE, you can rock things like Headstone and surround it with triple tap. Lots of potential here with this shotgun, guys, on both sides of the field. More so than anything, it looks dope as hell. Next, we have Sailspy Pitchglass. Again, Volt Shot, Planck Stride. Nothing really crazy here, guys. It does have one for all, but yeah, that's about it. Now moving on to our Ikelos weapons. Hands down, get the Ikelos SMG. We recently reviewed it. I personally think the best rogue you can get in PvP right now is Dynamic Sway with Tap the Trigger. The gun feels so good for both controller and mouse and keyboard users. And then inside of PvE, it's even nastier with things like Feeding Frenzy and Threat Detector plus Volt Shot. This is a phenomenal SMG. Guys, block out a portion of your schedule to get this SMG done. Ikelos Hand Cannon. This is actually a very good hand cannon for PvE users. Repulsor Brace is present on this weapon. We just talked about the synergy there with Gerfalcon. You also have One for All, plus Stats for All, Subsistence, and Frenzy. For PvP though, I don't really care for this one. Yeah, guys, it's just not there, man. I prefer the Chode if I'm gonna rock a 180. This one is just not it for me. Now, the Ikelos Sniper Rifle. Look, you can get some pretty good combinations here. Will you use it? Probably not. I don't blame you, but you can if you want. 4 times the charm, overflow with things like High Impact Reserves or Focus Fury. Nothing that crazy here, guys. Ikelos Shotgun. You've got things like Feeding Frenzy, Subsistence, Grave Robber, but you can roll with things like Incandescent. So combine this with some solo builds, Ikelos Shotgun may be for you. Now get into the seasonal weapons for Season of the Seraph. Disparity. We recently reviewed it. It's actually a very good pulse rifle, and even after the nerf, it's still pretty solid. Things like Moving Target, Head Seeker, which just got a buff, Rapid Hit, and Kill Clip is present on this thing, guys. Definitely suggest getting it. Tripwire Canary. This weapon has a fantastic PvE roll. Archer's Tempo plus successful warm-up. You've got Explosive Head, Feeding Frenzy. Great combinations overall. Fire and Forget. This was a very unique one, as not only is it a Vice weapon that can roll with Vice Stinger, but is also an aggressive frame weapon, meaning it shoots in a 3-round burst pattern, allowing you to proc Vice Stinger more often. Now granted, Vice Stinger got a nerf. We do need to revisit Fire and Forget and see how often Vice Stinger is actually proccing it, but at one time when we were doing DPS tests, it was literally proccing every single shot. It was pretty nuts. And you can get things like Field Prep and Focus Fury, which aren't exactly the best, at least Focus Fury isn't, but you never know, man. Bungie in the future may be like, yo, we're giving Focus Fury a crazy buff, and all of a sudden sudden is meta. Path of Least Resistance, a fantastic trace rifle, guys. It does arc damage, has combinations like Subsistence plus Volt Shot, Stats for All plus 1 for All. The meta currently right now is rocking double specials, and having a trace rifle to almost serve as like a stronger primary, you may really want to consider it, especially next season. Judgement of Kelgorath, a solid glaive here, guys. You've got Overflow plus Enhanced Surround It for those one-shot builds. This is something that you can even do inside of PvP, inside of PvE. Overflow, Demolitionist, Incandescent, close to melee, great damage here. And Retrofit Escapade, one of the best weapons ever until it got nerfed. Its synergy with Gerfalcons was so good. Honestly, I think it's still worth having. 4 times a charm, target lock, get those things enhanced all day long. Now, ritual weapons that are going away, obviously the Veles X. Definitely suggest getting that one, guys. That is a very, very solid pulse rifle. Again, we talked about our solo build. You want to have this one, especially if you play Hunter and you use Gerfalcons, which is still going to be good next season. Now, seasonal exotics that are being relegated to the exotic monument. One of them is, of course, Manticore. If you're looking for the other seasonal exotics from this year, though, they're already in the archives. Again, I'm not that crazy about Manticore. Interesting concept that Bungie gave us a weapon that utilizes in-air gunplay during arguably the worst time to be in air. Granted, we've had changes to in-air accuracy, so maybe Manticore's to play now? I don't know. Now, locations that are going to be going away. The Helm Crown of Star Wing, as well as the Rasputin Wing, the Warmon Launch Facility, the Derelict Leviathan, the Last City in Lingston Quarter. Everybody say bye-bye, Spider. The Helm Scion thing. Also, the seasonal narratives that are leaving us include Season the Risen, Season the Haunted, Season the Plunder, and Season the Seraph. I actually have really liked Season the Seraph. It's been very, very solid. Activities that are going away include Nightmare Containment, Catch Crash, Expeditions, Hideouts, Sever Missions, Vox Obscura, Operation Serve Shield, as well as the Operation Missions. Guys, if you haven't done them, highly suggest doing them, especially Serve Shield for Revision 0. Now, exotic quests. These quests will be removed from player inventories. Weapons earned from these quests will be earnable in-game by different means, and that includes High Alert, which is anomaly detected with the reward Trower Mash. Am I saying this right? Trower Mash Sparrow. Also, Kill the Messenger is going away, that reward being Dead Messenger, and the Hidden Shape, that reward being Revision 0. Also, any exotic Sparrow, ghost shells, or ships that are rewards from any of the seasonal vendor and activities are going away, and they will also be unobtainable. I'm not necessarily that crazy about these things, but if you're like someone that likes to collect all of them, you may want to snag them. Now, we also have a ton of materials that are going away. These will be deprecated and must be manually discarded from player inventories. It's a bunch of them. They're all tied to like seasonal things, as well as like breakdown of certain currencies. After this season, though, if you want to, you can break down these materials just to free up inventory space. So guys, that is your loot warning. Not trying to like scare anybody, but yeah, look through your vault, see what you got, start narrowing down those weapons you want to have. And I pretty much went through all of them. Not that you have to have all of them, but personally I like to have them because you just never know, man. Bungie makes one change and suddenly that one weapon you miss is suddenly meta and the FOMO is real. So again, down below is a timestamp to all of this, and of course, where and how to obtain them. Granted, there are some of these that you just can't get at this point, such as the Nightfall weapons and the trial weapons that are no longer going to be in rotation. Rest in peace. But everything else, especially the craftable weapons, you can still get right now. So good luck, fellas and ladies. Thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.